for me, I feel bad that I didn't update you like right away
No, it's
because
okay. It happens. Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't totally
but
fine.
no, I'm completely fine. I appreciate you letting me know. That's the biggest thing I find for me
Yeah.
personally.
My
Like
only concern is
respect.
that sometimes people take like an hour off from work, and I'm like, ah, crap, I don't want to be that guy. But
No, no, no. I'm in
uh,
between jobs right now, so don't
okay,
worry about it.
perfect. Okay, so let's get your form pulled up here. I'll get this uploaded and sent to you by tomorrow morning. If you haven't heard from me by tomorrow morning, just like I said, holler at me,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'll make sure.
I was just curious because I know it was on the little thingy as the stream one. I didn't
Yes.
know.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
I
I'm
didn't.
recording this as if it was streamed so that other people will
Okay,
be able to go back and watch and learn from it. It's going to be on
right.
Spilo too.
I
But
just didn't. I just want to make sure that I didn't like kind of shortchange you. That's all.
no,
I
no,
just
no,
want to
no,
make
no,
sure.
no, no, you are good to go. Okay, so what got you interested in coaching?
Uh, kind of just like just kind of pissing around a bit. Like
Sure.
I seen your content. I don't really watch like much Overwatch content in terms of creators.
Yep.
I just kind of watch you because you're interesting. Obviously, you know your shit. I just watch more Al during the weekend just
Makes sense.
to kill time. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's pretty diverse meta, so it's been pretty fun to watch this season. I've been really enjoying
Yeah.
it.
I mean, obviously, Sombra could go away a little bit. That'd be fine. But
Yeah.
it's also more. What should I say? Like, I guess for this is more like reality check because I know like my ego's like, oh, I could do better, but I know that I'm placed realistically where I should be.
Yep.
And I'll be honest, I don't really have much patience to like go and look through and be like, oh, this is because I can tell like in the moment most of the time what my problems are, but there's habitual things like
Right.
last night I looked at one of the your coaching sessions because I just like, oh, maybe I should have looked before I did it, but the right clicking on monkey, I don't have the habit of that because
Right.
I played a little bit like on and off Overwatch,
Mm-hmm.
and I never really picked up monkey until like I don't know, like season 2 of
Yep.
Overwatch 2, and
Yep. Yep.
habit of right click just I can't get it.
Yeah, well, it's a tough
Skill
one
issue.
because it's such an important one, and it's like constant. Like it is not just you need to be doing it all the time, like
I know, I
all the
just don't
time.
think about it. I don't
Yeah,
like it's just
yeah.
literally it's a skill issue on my part. Like I should know because I use it, but definitely not enough. Like
Well,
I troll a lot of dives because I could kill
right,
and shouldn't have to necessarily force like a DPS or support to come in, even though ideally I'd like that just because
sure,
that's
helpful.
yeah, but like yeah, of course it's helpful, right?
Yeah,
But as
yeah.
Winston, right, there's a lot of kill pressure,
Right, right. Well,
so
everything about Overwatch is like the knowledge to skill transfer, right? And this is something I talk about a lot where like I'm mid masters on all my roles, right? Even though I worked in the Overwatch League, right? So why? I know so much, I just can't do it. So for you, it's like, what's going on with me? It's building the habits, right? If you
yeah, yeah,
can't build
because
the
I just
habits, that's
yeah, because
it.
you don't because if you have to consciously think about it, then you're not really you don't really learn about it. Obviously, when you have to start something new, you have to think about it, but yeah, I should get to the point, for example, for that right click on Winston where I just do it automatically. Like if
Mm-hmm.
I'm just there kind of sitting, I could just poke with right click, you know, have it charged. I find myself like for that example, I also uh melee cancel a lot just because
Yep.
I'm used to just jumping and then hitting
Yep.
them instead of
Yep.
just zapping them
It's
shortly
not a
before.
bad.
But
That's not a bad habit. It doesn't decrease your DPS, and it does conserve some ammo. It's just a little bit overrated. That's all.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, it's all about building those habits, right? And then being able to like prioritize the habits that are most important, and then obviously because you can't build habits for every single hero at a reasonable rate, you have to like be like, okay, well, how important is ranking up? How important is just being able to do a little bit of everything? And like that's the tricky part. Like I'm looking at your tank hero pool right now, and it's like freaking Noah's Ark. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
yeah,
good luck building good Ram, Winston, Diva, Ryan, Orisa, Sigma Queen, Zarya, Hog habits.
yeah. Yeah. That's why I put the primaries like
Right,
Monkey, Diva, Ram, just because that's just what I play the most, right? So
right,
I'm gonna
right.
be I can flex off like if I need be. I'm not gonna just throw because if I know that oh I'm on Havana, I'm not gonna just try to force Winston if it's not working out for
Sure,
me, right? Like I'm
sure,
gonna
sure,
try to play Sigma, and even if it's a weaker strength, the hero just itself
sure,
matches better. So
sure. So, well, that's what you do is when you create a hero pool is you create something that fills the gaps as best as you possibly can. And then, for example, for you, you don't even need to play Sigma and Havana. You play Ramattra.
no, I can't, but I guess also like could be ego, but also like why like could try.
You
There's no,
could.
I mean, yeah. Is it necessarily the best for ranking up? Probably not. But I
No,
mean, no, it's not.
no, it's not. But do you enjoy playing Sigma and Havana?
Yeah, I'd rather that than Ram at times,
Sure.
especially
Then,
when,
then play Sigma and
yeah,
Havana. You see, the thing
yeah.
is like a lot of people come into these sessions and it's like there's either an expectation of like I want to play this game completely casually and still rank up, and I got to be the bearer of bad news, right?
Oh yeah, no, like I'm not
And
saying like,
but the other flip side is that people come in here and they're like, all right, well I got to grind this. I'm like, no, 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 no. You're not going for Overwatch League. You know,
no,
if you want to have a little bit of a messy hero pool, that's okay. You can still get better. You know, you're not aiming for like the top 1%, so you don't have to play like a top 1%, right?
no,
So for you, it's like Ram, Winston, Diva. Okay, what I'm going to tell you is I look at your secondary hero pool, and this is probably already the case, but I don't think you should really ever play more than like 3 or 4 tanks at a time, outside of occasionally pulling out a Sigma for a map, right? So, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you can only one trick or two trick to rank up.
no. It's just more like there's just generally like what I play. Whether
Sure.
I'm proficient in some stuff, like my Zarya was better in Overwatch 1, but since after what season 1 nerfs, I just haven't played her because she just got put in the ground. So
Yeah. Yeah.
swapped Zara for Ram, and then since Ram's just a busted hero,
Right.
I know Junker Queen's busted right now, but Ram's just his design just super easy to get away with whatever, even when I
Yep.
know that
And he
I'm
does well versus
just messing
Queen
up.
as well, which is crucial
Yeah.
right now.
Oh yeah.
That early poke damage that you can get with a shield on her body is like it can really, really help. Do me a favor, screenshot your career profile this competitive season if you can. Is that possible?
Yeah.
And then
Sure.
do that.
Let me just swap because I did ego. I have another
Huh.
account that with my D2, but I can just give you the one. Or no, I should just put this one right now. Just the
Yeah, go
because
for it.
we're only doing tank right now. It doesn't really matter.
Right on.
Uh, okay, there we go.
Okay. Not a lot of hours.
No.
Okay. Is that just been recently you've been busy or
Well, yeah, recently just in between jobs, I just waiting for like I have this offer sign. I'm just kind of killing time because
got it?
I for this season it's been a lot of like I just haven't played, and then maybe I play once like a week or twice a week for like couple hours, and that's it.
Right. Right.
So
Okay.
I have no consistency. So obviously that's something, if I want to actually like get to my goals, that's something I'll have to dedicate. But it's just I was in a rut. I'll be honest. That's it.
Sure.
A lot of
Sure.
stuff.
Do you have another account? Because this account only has 20
Yeah.
hours on it.
I know. Yeah, that's
Huh.
why I said I gotta log. Let me just get the yeah.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No worries. No worries.
I know the ego and me, I'm only diamond, have 2 accounts, but
I mean, maybe you're picking up a new tank and you're like a gold level. You know what happens?
I can't believe my dog's still sleeping. Jeez.
Is that the
I'm not
dog in your profile
complaining.
picture?
No, different one.
Okay.
Yeah, it's my mom's dog in the profile.
Nice.
Yeah.
What breed is your dog?
Uh, Shih Tzu toy poodle. He's just a
Haha.
little guy.
That's quite the combo.
Yeah, yeah, little feisty. All right, here's my
Smaller the dog, the bigger the personality.
exactly, just like me.
I know, right? I was gonna make a short joke there for me, but yeah, you beat me to it. Okay. Yeah, I mean, obviously this one's got a few hours, but still, it's like it's not a lot,
That's
right?
my season. That's my season. Like season 3, I have even less hours. Season
Right.
2, don't have much. I can give you my season 1, which is where I played
Nah.
the
That's
no.
fine. That's
That's
fine.
too far gone.
Right. So I think without going into too much detail here before we even get into gameplay, I think for you it's going to be like finding out what are your goals in terms of this, because you say in your forum mid-high GM by the end of the year, short-term mid
Which
to
is
high
ego.
masters.
Which is ego goal. I
Right.
mean,
Right.
masters is probably the more realistic, even though it's the short term, because like you have better experience with. I find the difference is just more is that a little more tempered, you know, behavior in ranked rather than
Mhm.
necessarily mechanics on tank.
Mhm.
Obviously, mechanics are always going to be important. There's stuff I miss all the time, and I'm like, oh well, that. happens, but
Yeah.
it's more important about the actual like working as a team, and if you can't calm and just like you know being
Yeah.
more adaptable.
Yeah. For you, it's just gonna be about like what's like a realistic goal for me in terms of like the amount of time that I can play. Because I can sit here and be like, yeah, if you play 2 to 3 hours every day for like the next several months, you're gonna hit Grandmaster, right? Assuming all factors are the same. But like that's not gonna happen for you. Not likely
No,
anyway.
no, no,
So
no. Yeah, that's there's new. Probably. I mean, high masters would probably be realistic, like end of year. High
okay.
masters maybe low,
Okay.
like GM5.
So let's dial it back then. What's the
Yeah, well,
reasonable amount of play that you're going to be able to get in the next 2-3 weeks per day per week on average and aim
per
low?
2 weeks. These 2 weeks.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Uh, like 5, 6, and
Five,
then
six
after
hours a
that'll
week.
probably be yeah, well per day, and then it'd be like per week after that 10.
Right. So
It's not much, but
5 to 6 hours per
uh,
day.
yeah, for the next 2 weeks I'm off work.
Okay. 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 Got it.
But
But then
afterwards,
it,
yeah, sorry, I should have just mentioned like the
and then
normal would be like
afterwards 10 hours per week after that.
probably that'd be very conservative. Yeah,
Okay, very conservative. But see, the problem with even that though is
it's
even
not enough time.
is well, no, not just that, but even like looking at the hours of the things that you sent me here, you've got like 20 hours combined this season.
Yeah,
So you're not even hitting that now.
no,
So is that like, oh, I'm just haven't, I'm gonna have more time in the future, and I'm gonna be able to,
I'm
or
just
like
gonna
what?
play more. I haven't played.
All right, because I don't want to
I
like,
know.
because like
No,
part of,
I don't want to waste your time, but I also
well, no,
from your perspective, like you're like, what this fucking kid doing? It's like
no. I think it's more like I want to be
realistic.
realistic, and I'm very hesitant with like pushing people to just play more because sometimes Overwatch, it's just freaking Overwatch. I'm not trying to
Yeah,
motivate you to go outside and like do stuff. It's like just freaking Overwatch. So like,
yeah, yeah.
where
No,
are
I
you at
just
right now? And what's reasonable for you right now? And like, here's what we can do. We can make the time that you do spend in game more efficient, more effective, right?
which is yeah, which would be
So
probably more realistical because I mean I work full time, right? I work
yeah,
probably at my new job minimum 50 hours a week, right? It's
right.
just it is what it is.
So
So
so so an hour a day.
realistically hitting, yeah,
An hour a day. Can we do that?
yeah,
An hour and a half a day on average. Is that
yeah, yeah,
reasonable long term?
yeah. That would
Right?
be reasonable.
Would
Yeah.
you? Well, here's another question. Would you have fun doing that?
Most of the time, yeah. I mean, some days you're just not gonna miss, or some days they're just,
Sure.
you're just gonna just queue up and you're gonna lose a bunch. And yeah, obviously it sucks more to lose than it does to win. But unless I'm just getting absolutely shit stomped, I'm not like mad about losses because shit
Sure.
stomps just don't feel good, right? Like you
Yeah.
can learn a little bit. There's no mean. It just sucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's like
But
I can't do anything. I just kind of like it's. Obviously, go in knowing that's a possibility, but it kind of feels like a waste of time. It's like, well, what? And like I know that's a me issue on that mental barrier, but it still doesn't feel good, right? It's like I know that we're not gonna win. I can
yeah.
try and be positive, but at the
Right.
end of the day, if I'm going like 2-7, the rest of my team, I can't take space, and then nobody we're not supporting each other. Whatever it doesn't.
Let me give you a little analogy here, a little story. The goal with ranked Overwatch is to treat every single game as a selfish endeavor. And what
Yeah.
I mean by that is going into it as I'm going to practice what I need to practice and screw the result.
Yep.
Um, there's been a lot of times where I've played on really, really crappy teams in sport. Whether it was like middle school football, whether it was like baseball, flag football, projects, whatever else, and
Yeah, that's
trying to
best.
take ownership for like winning games when your team just doesn't give effort or they just suck, it's like so frustrating, right? It's like every game feels like a stab in the heart, right? I mean, even
Right.
in
It's a
so,
fool's errand.
right. And I've even had teams, and I won't elaborate further than this, where I've coached professionally in the last few years, where like I worked my balls off, right? And even there were so many games that we lost, but the only reason that it was close was because I was like coaching my head off, right, the week prior to
Right.
that, and like I did so much, and there were also players on that team who were also working as hard as I was, but there were other players that were not. And
Right.
those
So it felt like you're pistoning in the wind.
right. And I had to communicate with those players, especially when I wasn't like the head coach responsibility as like, hey, listen, you can't take this season as like the end all be all. Use it as a self-development season. And then when we actually get some good leadership in here and we can clean house, we'll be good to go. Right. And that's what like kept my sanity and kept their sanity, right? Is like being selfish about it. Because to be successful as a team, you have to make self-sacrifices. But if people are not willing to also make the sacrifices and meet you halfway, then it's not a team game anymore. And that's ranked. It's not going to happen. So you have to treat every ranked game as like an individual training exercise, or you're losing your mind.
Yeah.
You'll lose your mind. And that's how you have to play ranked. And it just makes sense because ranked is just not anything like organized team play, right? Like one of the analogies I always say is like when you lose a soccer game as an 8-year-old kid, what do? You go home, right?
Yep.
You go home. That's not ranked. Ranked, you just queue up again. So it's like that you treat every single game as like an individual training exercise, and like that Winston right click, like you were saying. And even if you get yourself dumpstered, you're like, man, I got so much good practice focusing on my right click that game, right? And that's how you have to treat it. And if you don't enjoy playing like that, then ranked is going to be really hit or miss. And I get that a lot with like, especially like older guys that get into this game and they want to have like a competitive team environment. And I always tell them you need to find a team to scrimmage with.
Yeah, I mean that probably might be beneficial. It just depends on
Right.
like life happens, right? Like I know I'm old for the game, like this kind of thing. I'm 23, right? So it's
Oh,
like
you're not that
I
old.
got my
So much
degree. I
younger than
got
me.
like full-time job. You look younger than me, trust me. So it's that's what matters. But no,
True.
like I this is more just for me, like kind of the ego check instead. But it's also like I see my brothers are also good at this. Like I'm not saying just because my brothers are good at games that I will be, but I mean we're all like relatively well, we're similar, right? We're brothers, right? Like
Yeah,
my
of
brother,
course.
like one of my younger brothers is like for multiple seasons with top 500 player in Rainbow Six. Obviously the console, right? But still, it's not just because it's console doesn't mean any like shit, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and
But
my
it's just about
brother
where you choose
is
to invest your time. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
like he's 16, right? So he can invest that time. He spent 3 years grinding Rainbow Six. I did not. So
Right. And that's just where your choices are made. And it's like, where do you want to invest your time? Where do you not want to invest your time? It happens. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. Just make a
oh no
decision.
no
Make a decision. And the reason why that mentality is so important is, like I said, is like when you go into rank, if you're trying to win every game, trying to make it pretend like it's an actual
I'm gonna
team
burn
game,
out.
you're going to burn out because you're going to get frustrated at people that aren't playing around you, that aren't coordinating with you. And that's going to be the frustration right there. I mean, even your hero pool is like trying to pick the best tank for the best situation is not the fastest way to improve at tank, right?
No.
Because you're going to spend more time thinking about which tank is the right pick instead of actually just getting good at a tank. Like you have to work at something in isolation to see improvement. Otherwise, you're going to be, like you said, just scattering, wasting your time. Okay, let's keep going. Do you have any questions so far?
No. Do you have any
Okay.
questions for me, or I guess that
No.
you're gonna go to that, but for now,
We'll just keep moving through the form here.
yeah.
Feel free to roast us, you please. Please ask for clarifications from me if you think I'm not getting the point. Okay. What do you hope to get out of the session? Second set of eyes. Most of my mistakes are either mid-mistake or after the fact. I mean, that's what we talked about, right? You have knowledge, but you don't have skill. Welcome to the club, right? Nothing like being like me, who's used to be good at the game, can coach a lot of the game, and is just garbage at the game.
Well, I mean, you can say you're better at the game because you actually know, but yeah, execution is just different.
Right,
Like,
and that's the thing. It's like being able to actually execute. That's skill. Knowing the mistake afterwards doesn't matter. I mean, the only reason that matters is because it gives you guidance about what you need to be focusing on, but it doesn't make you a better player. Okay, hero pool is the number one thing for you because even though you have specialty heroes, Ram, Diva, Winston, right? You still have a decent number of hours on Orisa, or at least not a decent number of hours. I would just say time on Orisa, time on Junker Queen, things like that. You need to specialize a little bit more. Find the heroes that are enjoyable for you. Change it up depending on the meta or the macro or what you enjoy playing. Maybe Ramattra gets hard nerfed and you're like, I don't like this hero anymore. Okay, but find what you enjoy. Lean into what you enjoy. Be a little bit tighter with it. Look at your training time. Make sure that it's as a little bit more consistent and a little bit better in the volume department, right? I don't care if
Oh
it's
yeah, yeah,
7 to 10 hours a week. That's totally fine.
yeah.
It's
I
not
just have
even.
these gaps.
Yeah, and it's
Is the
not even
issue.
good to play 5 or 6 hours a day. Like in terms of improvement, it's not good. Like 3 to 4 hours is like limit, right? Limit before you just get like
Yeah.
super tired, right? So it's not like you need to be playing catch up game here, but just establish something closer to a schedule, right? I mean, that's what I do, right? Like when I try to play the game, I know that I'm not going to be able to play every day. I know that I'm going to be able to play like once a week, right? So I just try to be like, okay, given that's what my limitations are, what's the best I can make out of it? And usually for me, that means I just one trick a hero for a couple hours, just to try and practice something. And then what do you feel is holding you back from improving? You say bit of egoing, going for risky plays are not worth expected value or follow up. Target focus, difference between what I believe is what most important versus teammates. Okay. And then mechanics, to what extent, not sure, but always will be a factor to aggro and game. Do you want to elaborate on any of those points?
Is there anything you would rather like? Because I can just do the ego thing. I think it's relatively self-explanatory. I think I can go for something, but I just don't. Like it just doesn't work out whether I feed or I just don't confirm the kill or
Yeah.
I just throw games.
Yeah, it
You know,
happens. It happens.
happens. Yeah,
Okay.
like it sucks, but I mean that stuff. You know, and it is hard. Like because I mean, my idea of the game, right? Tank is majority of the time your tempo lead. Like for example, if I play Diva or Winston, if I'm like engaging on somebody, I
Mm-hmm.
like want at least acknowledgement. Like I can get support even if nobody's like diving with me. Like that there's some sort of peel if they turn three or two or three people turn on me and I need to fall back or.
Right.
But I'm not saying I'm always good at that because I can also just go in and not think, oh shit, I'm not, I'm, my Ana is just not gonna be able to reposition in time, for example, or whatnot. So
Right. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Makes sense. Makes sense. Do you have any questions, or do you want to hop into the gameplay?
we can hop in the gameplay.
Okay. All right. Let's shoot me a replay code.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Is
Okay.
your recommendation? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just getting the code pulled up. What's up?
I found when you like obviously it is best, and I agree with you that you find a close game, but I find when I was looking through like just replays and thinking about games, it was more like, man, this is kind of hard. Like there's not really that many close games. Like
It's the
there's
5v5.
yeah.
Things tend to snowball either direction a little bit faster.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, a closer game is fine. Also, games where you're not sure, like, what on earth just hit you. Like, what could I have done in these situations? Or I don't know how to play versus this matchup or versus this tank. That's also very helpful as well. So yeah. Okay. Let's get started then.
All right.
But yeah, there's fewer closer games than Overwatch 2, at least from my limited like little sample size. So don't sweat as much about it. Okay, so Ramattra, what's your goal with Ramattra? What are the strengths of Ramattra?
Mixture poke and is able to engage relatively easily
Sure.
in brawl. Not as well as Ryan, of course, but being able to punch through shield is pretty huge
Yep,
and
yep.
is
And you have that poke option
probably
too.
the yeah, and it's probably other let's say maybe Winston or Ball if you're really good, depending on meta, is probably the best tank for taking space.
Sure. Okay, sounds good. So you look at the enemy comp. When you say taking space, what does taking
Well,
space
I just shouldn't
mean?
take taking space, being able to position. So, for example, I don't. That's a bad. I would probably say that's maybe bad nemesis trying to force out that when I should just be able to, you know, have Lucio speed and just rotate right side of statue. But being able to position properly. So, like for example, my Genji can contest high ground, or that my May's with me so that she can wall off, for example, like the Sigma or something like that. Anybody out of position, or just take, block line of sight
Sure. Who's the biggest threat on your screen right now?
that I can see is the Sigma.
Right, there is nobody else on your screen. So your priority is get the Sigma back, right? And that should be very easy because there is nobody else on your screen. So this Sigma's going to lose shield, it's going to lose resources, it's going to back up. Okay, then what? What's the next biggest threat on your screen? Let me give you a little bit of overlay there so you can see.
Probably the Hanzo.
Probably the Hanzo. Can you deal with him on high ground?
Not well. I can try to poke when he
Sure.
challenges, but I'll lose most of
If
the
you get
time.
the opportunity to rotate
Yeah,
through stairs, you could clear him off of high ground. That's absolutely something you can and
yeah,
probably should look to do if you get the opportunity to. But like that's the key thing with Ramattra is when you're actually like creating space, it's like who am I pressuring with either my ranged pressure or with my punches to create space by threatening kills. And you always want to prioritize one, people that are easiest to kill, or
yep.
two, the most lethal threats. Pretty much that simple. So for here, it's like I look at this and like you were saying, it's like it doesn't feel like you need to pop Nemesis here. Throw your shield on if you want to, just burn mouse 1. Just spam this guy out, force him out, and then take space from there. Don't use a cooldown to do what just mouse 1 would do. That's kind of like what we're looking at right here. He's pushed up so far forward that you don't even need to use a cooldown.
Yeah, he's trolling.
Right.
I don't need to force Nemesis to be able to.
Exactly. You don't need to force Nemesis to do what just mouse 1 would do, right?
Yeah.
Other thing I would be doing as well is just a little bit more HP juggling here. You can kind of see it right here, right? The E is fine, but as soon as you're here, HP, just block a little bit.
Yep.
Just block a little bit. That way, when you exit this Nemesis form, you're at a much, much higher HP so that you're able to actually do stuff a little bit for a little bit longer. Okay, let's keep watching.
Yeah, I misplayed that. That's okay.
Sure.
I just swapped Monkey.
Swap Monkey. Monkey into Winston is good. I'm going to see if there's anything else. So all Monkey. Okay, sounds good. So let's take a look at Monkey. Let's do it.
I baited you with the ram.
Nah, that's good. Because it's the same thing, right? Like with Monkey, it's like where's the most killable target? Where's the most lethal target? Oftentimes they're the one and the same. Make that decision, go in. Looking for where
like right here, I should be charging right click, but I just don't. Like I recognize that in hindsight, but like I just didn't think about it until the video when I was like.
And that's fine. That's fine. Then we don't need to bring it up. We'll put it as a skill that you need to practice. But we don't have to sit here and be like, oh, why didn't you right click? Well, because you don't have the habit, right? Now, this is the right target to jump, though, right? Why would you jump this guy and not the Baptiste?
Baptiste is further back, and I'd be just throwing the game.
So
no
2D.
No step follow up.
And also, how much of a threat is the Baptiste?
Not a threat to me.
Right. I mean, look, right. The Hanzo on an angle is more of important because he's more of a threat to your team, right? Yeah. And also, is the Baptiste easier to kill than the Hanzo? No, so there's no reason to jump the Baptiste, right? Now, if this was like a Zenyatta, you might be like, ooh, maybe I should jump the Zenyatta because even though he's not a threat to my team, he's easy to kill. Do you see that dichotomy there? It's like a balance. But this one, you can have your cake and eat it too. You jump the guy who's easiest to kill. Now, you're not going to kill him because Mercy Beam and Bat Pocket, but that's okay. You're still pulling resources. And you also clear the off angle so that he's not a threat to your team. Yeah. So bingo. Very good. You've created space. Look at the enemy.
Could I have used shield? Maybe. I don't know.
You should have.
Yeah,
you have to.
Now, when I saw the rock, I'm like, okay, that never mind. That myself for a second.
Even just jumping the Hanzo alone, you're gonna be crying mama if you don't pop this shield here, right? Like this is. I mean, look at your shield. Bam! It's already broken, right? So no, you 100% jump there. Now this is what creating space means. Look at the blue.
Yep. Now
look at the blue.
Yep.
Okay. Now you need to. Okay, so let's put it this way. Is there any aggressive space that the enemy team is controlling right now?
They're challenging left side of statue.
A little bit. Genji. Okay, so then... Yeah. But not as... There's not really an angle to contest here, right?
No.
So then what's your next play as soon as you get bubble back?
Try to force point or isolate.
Just kill.
Yeah, just kill.
Just kill. Right? Once you've created and cleared space for your team, you've earned the right to just kill. Now, we can think about it in 2 steps. You could either dive in and kill, or you can set up by jumping high ground and trying to
set up high ground. I know that for sure.
And trying to set up and trying to stage your next go kill, but doing so with a little bit more efficiency, right? Yeah. And the reason why you do that is because the way that your hero works. I mean, look at it right now. Now you might jump in right now because you're like, I see nade, I'm just gonna get a kill, and I wouldn't be mad. But like, let's say this nade doesn't hit. What are you waiting for right now?
Nothing.
Are you sure? Look at the bottom right.
Bottom right.
Look at your cooldowns.
Reload. Oh, bubble. Yeah.
Yeah. So you okay? Let's say this nade doesn't hit. You couldn't go in right now. You die. So what you do is during the downtime when you don't have your bubble, you invest it by setting up for your next engage.
Yeah.
You see that?
So that So I get. Yeah. Like obviously that's for me. That's the gap. It'd be like the best play would be just to go high ground.
Right.
But I'm just there like, oh,
When you
kill.
don't have bubble, what are you doing with that downtime? That's the question. Now, I think you might just jump in because you see nade, and I don't think it's necessarily a bad decision.
Yep, that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. But if you didn't hit that nade, you would need to immediately start to take an angle, start to take a flank, set up for your next go kill.
Yep.
But
No, I agree.
looks good. Besides that right click, looks good. There's the Cassie swap. Doesn't really matter, to be honest with you. It's probably more to do with the echo than anything else, but
Yeah.
oh dear. I will say this. One of the things with the right click is it's more of a dive enabler than it is a poke tool, right?
Yeah.
Because obviously if you like look at, especially versus the enemy composition, Kiriko, Cassidy, heck, even Genji.
I'm just getting poked out, yeah.
Right, they're going to do more damage at range. So you need the right click as a gap closer. And if, like, let's say there was a Tracer on you at a distance, or a Sombra, or maybe even a Genji, like, you hitting a right click on those targets is fine, right? But don't peek here. Don't peek here. Get out of here. This is whatever.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I mean, it's whatever. It's just like trying to like. I would have just disengaged there, honestly. But yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you need to know where the squishies are. You know, you need to be not only looking for them, but also trying to predict, right? So we could see through walls, but that's cheating. So you tell me where the squishies are.
They would presumably be behind the monkey.
Right.
Just because I'm playing monkey, right? So
Right.
they're gonna be jumping.
So for me, I'm less interested in this.
Yeah, should be rotating more down and then going through bottom, well, through the left side.
And I'm
Or
more
even
interested in
wrapping around behind.
go kill this, right? This angle matters. Or heck, even jump the Genji. This guy matters too, right? Don't trade with the monkey. Who cares about the monkey trade? Right?
You're gonna see a huge jump in a second. Let's go.
The ultimately, like, your contribution here,
Nothing.
meaningless. Yeah,
Yep.
meaningless. Wait, no way.
I was just afraid that I was trying to peek, but
Honestly, sure. I mean, you're on a squishy. You know, your team is pushing. This guy should die.
Prime Link could use some work.
That's
but
all right. That ties into the mechanical side of things. Nice.
Wow, I
Right.
right click. Good job, me.
But not just the right click. Look at your positioning.
Yeah, I'm behind.
They have no idea you're here. You don't even need to use your jump. You probably bubbled a little early there. You could have honestly bubbled a
I
little
did.
later.
I definitely did bubble early.
But yeah, that's gonna
because-
set up the kill to Cassidy. Nicely done. Oh, this guy's trolling. Find him. Yeah. There you go.
Bad
Nice
bubble,
job.
but-
Nice job. I mean, it's who cares? The fight's won.
Yeah.
You know, it's just make sure you don't take damage.
When,
Yeah, that's good.
when I actually get masters, then I can start worrying about that stuff a little more. But there's more issues.
Yeah, well, let's put it this way. I mean, like, bubble usage is obviously something to work on, but, like, that particular bubble didn't matter because the fight was won. Just use it.
Yeah.
It's fine. Okay, so let's keep going. A little bit of right click, setting up for squishies. All of that juicy stuff. Now, again, so much of high-level play is investment, right? It's like, what are you doing right now that's going to separate you from the other tank players, right? You know where the fight's going to take place, right? Where is the fight going to take place?
Why did I jump there instead of the little window? I think I missed the window because I played this game
Like here?
yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah.
I missed the jump. We're gonna
And
pretend I
you know
didn't
where the
have
squishies
it.
are going to be, right? They're going to be like over
Yeah,
here, or they're going to be
there.
over here. So you need to be setting up for them, right?
I'm indecisive right now, as you could probably tell.
And that's fine.
Yeah,
Like, yeah. So and that's fine. But, like, you know, you're indecisive. So think about it for a few seconds between fights, and then make a decision. And if it fails miserably, you learn something, right? Okay, just wait. Don't do this.
No. Okay.
Who is your mentality focused on right now?
The wrong person.
Right, so where should it be instead?
I should be trying to trade backlines.
You
even
could,
just taking
or you
trades.
can even just be like, hey, is the backline doing anything? Because you look at it right now and you're like, I don't need to do anything, right? I mean, you look at these guys, they're literally doing nothing. But if that Cassie starts to walk forward, you hear the Genji wrapping around through this window, okay, then there you go.
Yeah.
But you're not giving yourself that information, and then there's your bubble. Whereas now you might need it for the Genji, you might need it for the backline, right? Like right now, you probably should be going in. Why? What's the backline of the enemy team doing? They're walking.
Not much.
They're walking. They're walking now, though, right? This Cassie's actually going to start to walk. You need your bubble. You need to go. This is your fault.
No, I know. Yeah.
Right. So I think just a little bit more DPS support focus once these fights start. And then obviously now it's like you don't have your bubble, so you're not able to go as aggressively. Probably okay to not use your bubble there when you're behind cover, because now it's like now you're probably just gonna die. Well, maybe you got naded, so maybe you're okay. There you go. 3, 2, 1. Oh. Hide. Don't peek. Yes. A little bit early. And I wouldn't be focusing on the Winston, right? I would be at least peeking here, you know, look at the Cassidy, right? Put some pressure out. But this is okay. Now jump out. You see, that Winston made the same mistake you made. Did you see that?
Yep.
He's like, oh, I gotta peel my team versus the Winston. Look, I'm gonna bubble him off, right? But
that's a problem. If I'm playing D.Va, that's fine, but Monkey's not the hero to peel.
Right, and the reason why D.Va does good at that is because D.Va lights up Winston, right? She lights him up, right?
Rocket after jump, Rocket.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. But Winston versus Winston, you guys just tickle each other, right? This guy should. What should this guy be doing? Coach him. What should he be doing?
He should be going for either. Well, not my. Try to push out the Echo and go for the Ana.
Yeah, just keep these guys out. Let him. Let us backline handle
on point. Who knows? But that's not
right.
That's my.
But the problem is he's focused on you. He's not focused on controlling your backline, and so look what happens. The backline that he ignored almost kills him. And you get out just fine. What did he do? 80 damage to you? 90 damage to you? That's the problem. You got to know your matchups. You got to know where is my strength in creating space. You don't have bubble. This is crazy.
Nope. Yep. Suicide.
And the problem is not that jumping without bubble is always going to kill you. The problem
there's just no need for that.
There's no need. It's going to force all of your support resources. And what should you be doing right now?
I should be staging. Or punishing. I should be diving with Tracer.
You dive with backline and look at your bubble, right? You got it now, but you're not going in now.
Nope.
So when you get greedy before you have your bubble, you then are not allowed to play greedy when you have the bubble. That's the problem. So you should be in now, but now you're not.
Yeah.
Right. So it's about it's all about knowing your matchups, number one, and then timing the pressure of those matchups when you have your resources. That's it.
So the gist of it would more be I'm too tank focused. Probably. Well,
too tank focused, and you're not paying attention to your bubble cooldown about when you should be playing aggressively. You're too defensive because you ended up jumping too early when you didn't have bubble and then almost die.
Right.
And so then when you have your bubble, you're not actually going in for the aggression that you need to go for. Because like right now, you're in their backline. Their backline dies. You get your primal, your Tracer lives, you win the fight. And now it's like, okay, well, you've messed up. Your just hero isn't good at killing tanks. He just isn't, right? I mean, look at that. You focused a Genji for 2 seconds, the man dies, right? Now that's a bit of an overextension from him. Here it comes. Get the cast, get the cast, get the cast. Ooh. Now, you might be scared to jump backline sometimes, but honestly, in those scenarios, the play isn't to necessarily focus tank. The play is to, ready for this? Do nothing.
Yep.
Jump out. Just hide. Because within 5 seconds, you're going to want to go in, and you will not have your bubble.
Yeah, I think I used my bubble for...
Do you see it? You didn't want to go because of high noon.
Yep.
So you use your bubble for like... You're like, oh, maybe I'm protecting my team. Which, I mean, I get it, but probably not worth it, okay? And then now you go in literally 2 seconds later, but you don't have your bubble now. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
That's the key difference. And so you're not able to split healing when it really counts, and you're gonna die for it. Oh my gosh. No way.
Yeah, I get away with a lot of egregious shit here. I'm not gonna lie.
That's wild. Okay.
You know, looking at this, I'm thinking maybe Monkey's not my hero. If I habitually play him like this, I know I'm not trying to slap you in the face, but like just looking at this, like, yeah, I'm just not playing him fundamentally, right?
But do you like Winston? Do you enjoy playing the hero?
I mean, he's okay. He has skill expression. Like, I'm not just saying that because I hear everybody say it. Like, there's fun
Yeah.
to them, but it's also like there's a portion of it. Like, if I just try to have fun on like Doom, I know I'm just gonna turbo feed because I just never played him Overwatch 1, and I don't play him in Overwatch 2, and yeah.
Okay. I don't know.
But also, it's not fun for me just to get turbo. Like, I'd rather play something like Winston where easier to apply everywhere than just like
Sure, sure. With Winston, there's less mechanics demanded for you to do the right thing with skill expression. Whereas Doomfist feels like you have to understand these things, and you also have to be strong mechanically.
Oh, definitely not either. I'm not good at either of those. I'm okay. That's why I'm diamond, but it's not.
Sure, sure. Here's the thing, though. If you enjoy playing Winston, play Winston. It's not like you're not going to be able to learn how to do these things, right?
Yeah.
So if you look at this like, oh, maybe Winston isn't for me. Why? Like, you're diamond, right? You're doing some things right. Like, you're not actively feeding all the time, right? You're not that bad with the hero. And if you enjoy the hero, you will get better at the hero. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
No,
Don't
I
be,
know. I appreciate. I'm
like
not. It's for me. I guess for me, it's more like it's weird getting used to main tanks because I was off tank player,
yeah,
support and off tank, and I was like, there like whenever I had to play main tank because there's another person who's forced off tank and we couldn't just do like Sig Hog or whatever. I was like in frowny town. So
all right.
honestly, for me, picking that monkey, I was like, oh, this, whatever.
Right. So I guess for you, it's going to be about finding what heroes that you actually enjoy, and then
I mean,
putting
I
time.
enjoy him. It's just more like it just sucks sometimes how like I feel like he's just the not the best pick because that's Ram right now, other than
Yeah.
Queen. But
Well, he's certainly the easiest pick. He's not. He's not the
oh yeah,
easiest pick. You know, I mean, there's a reason why he's not the most popular tank in lower ranks is because he's difficult to get value out of. But if you enjoy playing him, then you will be able to level up your understanding and your execution and actually be able to do stuff with him.
Yep.
So I guess my point for you is it's like, if you enjoy playing the hero, then you will get good at the hero. And if you don't enjoy playing the hero, then you're not going to get good at the hero. So, being able to adjust to that is going to be up to you. Now, if you're like, well, I don't know if I want to grind out my monkey. Okay, then we do something else. But don't be like, oh, I'm not good at it right now, therefore it's not for me. You're not playing to win a match next week, right? You're playing for the long term. Now, this is an interesting one because if you think about this, Torb isn't necessarily a bad 1v1 for you, right? He's not the best 1v1, but he's not a bad 1v1. But I still find this to be a mistake. Why?
Mistake? Well, just because he's so close to the supports where it's just easier to dive the Ash, even if it's a little further because my team's already there.
Right. Well, it's as simple as this. Who's an easier 1v1 for you? Torbjorn or Ash?
Ash.
Ash. So are you going to kill the Ash if you dive the Ash? No.
No.
But when you dive in Ash, the amount of resources that you will force will be more than if you dive the Torb.
Yeah, suboptimal.
Right. So when you dive heroes that you're very good at killing, not just to kill them, but to force people to freak out and do things. If you dive the Torb, he's going to poppy, and maybe he gets Kiriko Pocket. If you dive the Ash, Kiriko Pocket, Coach Gun, Mercy Pocket, the Winston will probably look at you, maybe Suzu, your Primal. It's going to be a mess, right? So this isn't bad. It's just not your best matchup when there's an Ash in the backline as well. That's all it is. So the reason why this is a mistake is not because Torb is bad, but that Ash is better. That's all. Like, so much of tanking is just 1v1s, right? Oh, and by the way, I think this is probably fine because you don't want to actually dive in right now because your team is resetting. That being said,
The bubble.
Don't need to bubble this, right? Yeah.
No.
I don't care if he gets healed. Just hide here and just zap, 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 zap. You know? He's gonna get forced out, poked out, and then now you have your bubble to jump in if you'd like to. But obviously your team's getting picked, so you gotta give up. A little too slow.
Yeah.
So here, you gotta hug the wall. Bam! Right? And she's probably gonna coach gun you, but that's alright. It happens. She is really slow with that coach gun, but that's okay.
Diamond for you. Let's go.
That's all right. Love to see it. Good. Creating some space. You're probably gonna need to disengage here, but yeah. So you agreed. So you agreed. So I know it feels bad using primal and being like, I just didn't do anything, but you did.
No,
you did.
I did. I made space.
I mean, you made a lot of space.
I overextended my stay.
Look at their positioning.
Sure. And then they're all off high ground.
And then not only do you force Valk, but they're all off of high ground and they're all on the floor. And then here, look at your Echo's positioning now. Look at your Tracer's flank. Look at your backline being able to walk forward, right? You created space. Very nice, right? So you just need to be able to get out here, and then you can go back in.
And then I throw.
Right, and that happens. You know, it happens. Okay, so let's keep going. Okay, then you go Diva, which honestly is fine. Like I think like their comp is a little bit tougher to play Winston into. But let's keep looking at the. I want to keep looking at the Winston stuff if you're good. Oh, we can look at some Ramattra as well. Let's stay in the Winston train though, if that works for you.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, there's not much. It's mostly just monkey.
Okay. Do you have any questions so far, by the way?
No.
Okay. Let's keep going. All right.
Even though I knew it was gonna be humbled, it's still like, you know, it's like, oh, I gotta get used to it. It's like, not that you're doing anything wrong. Like you're being very polite. I'm surprised you haven't been like, what the fuck is this?
I mean, it's just basics, right? Like everybody in hindsight looks like an idiot, right? Everybody in hindsight looks like an idiot. It's just the nature of the game that you're playing. There's so much going on all the time that it's very easy to make small mistakes. That's why your goal shouldn't be to necessarily remove mistakes from your gameplay, because it's unrealistic. It's to reduce them and do more of the right things, right? That's why it's equally about don't do this jump, but do this instead, right? Like, it's not just about fixing your mistakes, but about like having an idea of what you're trying to do with here. Like for example, right now, who are you trying to dive here? Look at their comp. Hanzo, Genji, Mercy, Kiriko, right? What's the best way to access those heroes?
High ground.
High ground. Where are you right now?
Up there too.
Right?
Ground.
Legitimately, you could hard flank with the soldier here, wait for them to walk through the choke, drop on the backline, and then jump out. And you would also, if they decide to contest you, help your soldier win this 1v1, right? And so you're going to lose this fight because of what happened up there.
I made the wrong play. Yeah.
Right. It's good. So you distracted backline, so allowed your team to peel off the Genji quite easily. I mean, this is fine. Like, there it is. Good focus on the squishy. Get out. I'm shocked that this worked, but hey, I'm pleasantly surprised. Needed to bubble that. That's okay.
I should have jumped out there first.
It's the black and white. You're too much gray. No bubble, no HP. Just get out. Your hero, Winston, is like
5-second cooldown. 5-second cooldown.
Right. You are the most powerful tank in the entire game when you have your bubble. When you don't have your bubble, you are the weakest tank in the entire game. Right? You're extremely cooldown reliant. The most cooldown reliant tank in the game. Even more so than Junker Queen, even more so than Zarya without bubbles. You literally do nothing, right? So like right now, remember, it's not just about doing nothing, but about where do you think, how do you think are you going to engage next when you do have bubble?
Probably Genji, so I'd have to go right side high ground.
Right, you could jump right side high ground, walk around, drop on this guy. You could also go left side high ground, walk around, dropping these guys, right? So it's not so much with Winston that you're doing nothing between your bubble cycles, you're thinking. You role play as Winston. All right? You know, between bubbles, you're thinking, what do I do next? You know, like where do I go next? Like do I literally hide behind a corner and do nothing? Do I wrap around and flank? Do I set up an off angle and jump high ground and then set up my next engage? Because you're like, I'm obsessed with doing things right now, but you don't need to do anything right now. You don't need to do anything. Because remember, that's what gets you killed. That's forces a bubble. And even if you didn't get killed here, you would by the time your bubble's available now, do you think that you would have been ready to dive?
No, I should have jumped out.
You would still have been like 150 HP, right? Yeah. That's the key thing. So you're doing something when you're weak, so that you're not doing things when you're strong. It's like the equivalent of like working out 7 hours a day and then being so sore that you can't work out for a week afterwards.
Yep.
That's not a very productive way of playing. Know your strengths, know your limits, then do nothing, or like plan your workout for the next day, right? That's kind of like what Winston does, right? You're planning your next engage. What am I going to do? Where am I going to go? Where's the best angle? Where's the best flank? Use that downtime. This is fine. I mean, it's not super useful because your team isn't with you, but like, it's fine. At least we're looking for squishies, right? And then we're doing nothing with no bubble. Good. Well, there's Genji. Hanzo's here. I know what you're going to do with your next bubble, right?
Aww. I'm disappointed.
Go for
Just
Kiri.
like
Go for Kiri. I know she's just going to TP and Susu, but we don't care. That's fine. Then you pursue her with Primal or go for the Hanzo again, right? Or you're like, oh, Genji's over here? Man, I'm going to hunt this guy, right? I like this 1v1. I'm going to ruin this man's career. You know what I'm saying? But this does nothing. This is good. You don't have bubble, but you don't need it when you're nano. It's good. Now you got an option here. Your team is kind of with you, so you can either disengage or you can engage. Let's see what you do. Don't trade with the Zarya though. Good. Now wait and set up, right? Wait and set up. Invest your time. Invest your time. It's good. Good. I like the Genji focus. They're overextending to chase. Get on that Kiri. Good. There's bubble. Stay on her. She's screaming. She's running for her life. Good. That's fine. That's honestly fine. Nice. You're causing big distractions because you're going for better targets. Zarya isn't the worst tank in the world to 1v1, but there's just better options here. Yep. Good adjustment here. Nice right click. Yeah! Nice. Nicely done. All right, get away from this guy. Go. Jump in. Yeah. Make her turn around to chase you. That's the most space that you can create. Is force that tank to turn around. It even works versus D.Va too, because D.Va's like kind of slow compared to your jump. So you can even have like, you jump her backline. She turns around to peel, but because you jump to squishy, it takes her like a second and a half, 2 seconds to get to you, right?
Yep.
That was a much better series of jumps and engages from you. It wasn't perfect, but it was much better. But like you were doing much better, like not engaging without bubble, trying to look for squishies. It still doesn't always work out, but that was a significant improvement from what we've seen. You could get him if you want, yeah. Look at this guy. There he is. He can't stay there. Honestly, you could even jump him here because it's not like you're gonna get punished for not having bubble versus a Genji. Nice, right? Now you've got bubble. Let's go. But you got to decide, right? You got to decide. You got to decide to go in because my team is fighting. I'm going to create a separation. I know I don't have primal. I know it's scary. So I'm going to jump. I'm going to bubble. I'm going to kind of hide, tuck behind this corner, zap, and then jump out and get out to cover, right? Or I'm like, I don't really want to dive deep, so I'm going to get out and save my bubble, right? Because right here, it's like
the worst option.
This is the worst option, right? Because now, and there it is, you're done.
Yeah.
Right? You're done, right? You're done. It's all about doing something when you're strong and not doing things when you're weak.
I definitely don't trust my support, that's for sure. I can definitely even just see it in my gameplay. It's just like I don't trust myself either, though. So
right, and that's the thing. It's like, but you need to trust yourself. You need to trust yourself to do the right things if you want to improve. You have to trust yourself. Because even if you're not good enough right now, you will eventually get to the point to where you are good enough. But what you're doing right now is building bad habits to where you'll never be good enough for this. Like this is never a good play. All right, let's see it. I want to see a deep jump. You got primal. I want to see squishies light up. Don't peek. This is where the right click is meaningless, right? Versus their comp. The Cassidy, the Hanzo, even the Zarya right clicks. It's like it's not worth it. All right, let them walk forward until your team can help, and then you go super deep and isolate that Zarya. You can go now if you want. Yeah, look at you. I like the Hanzo priority as well. Boring as all get out, but you know what? It's okay. Like really, truly, this is fine. Hanzo's on a power position, and guess what he's doing with it? Zero.
Yeah, nothing.
And the Mercy's popping Valk and not even getting damage boost. She has to heal. That's good. You could even pop Primal here if you wanted. Yep. Good. Get him off high. There he goes. There's a bubble too. Now just don't die for it, right? Good. 1-for-1 ult trade. And I think your team might actually win the fight off of this too. Look at that. Nice. Get out. Ooh,
no,
wait, maybe not.
Problem. No. I tried to go for I tried. And the
That's
reason
okay.
I know this lost the game, but the reason why I tried is because the Mercy was pocketing the Kiri and ignoring the Cass.
Right, right. The problem here is it's like if your team was
I
with you, it would matter, but your team can't push up this far. Like they weren't able to. Like the May's trying, the Kiri's trying, but it's just too
Yeah,
far,
yeah.
right?
No, no, I know.
And then no
No,
bubble,
it's
and
my
then
fault. I don't. For me, it's a bad play. I don't disagree that I went for the play, but I should have at least checked first instead of just going in because I saw
right,
the
right, right,
opportunity.
right. That being said,
And
that
that and
fight,
that lost us the game.
but
And possibly, I mean,
yes,
they Kitsune'd and Dragons. I
but
mean, I lost the game for us on
you did,
that, but
you did, you did.
yeah,
But the fight before you played, that was the best fight we've seen so far.
yeah.
You did a great
It
job.
just sucks when it just sucks for that game because it was like I knew I lost us the game even though I didn't play that great in the first half. It's because I just tried to get the.
Well,
That's why I said
that's
like the
human nature,
ego.
right? It's the permanence of like what happened last is what we remember the most.
Oh yeah,
We don't remember all the misplays by your team. You don't even remember all the misplays by you early up to this. I mean, we do because we reviewed it, but like it's the last thing that matters. But you know that's not really the case. It's a lot more. It's a lot more complicated than that. So for Winston specifically, okay, what are the skills that you need to be improving? What are you seeing?
bubble usage obviously.
Well, what
That's a
about
big
bubble
one.
usage?
Stop using it off of cooldown. Actually use the mission. So
Have a purpose with it.
yeah.
Use it to enable 1v1s, dive, which leads us to the second point. Where were those bubbles being misused? How were they being misused? Because this was a playstyle thing that you were screwing up.
Yeah. I was just using them reactively
Ready for
and
this
in
one?
lieu of yeah. Sorry?
Ready?
Yeah.
You see it? In Discord?
Avoid them. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. I was
Yeah,
just,
no,
just
you're
still
good.
in the
You're good. You're good. You're good. It's the frontline traits. That's where we were seeing that quote unquote misuse of bubbles, where it was just like
Oh yeah.
we just
That's just a fundamental issue with me just playing
it's like a
Winston where it should
mindset,
just
right?
not be.
It's a
Yeah.
mindset. Like now I can see that where there are tanks where frontline trades are very powerful, you still need to be looking for off angles that you can clear out. Remember the Hanzo Mercy on first point with Ramattra, right? If you get the opportunity to clear them off, a Ramattra wants to 1v1 a Hanzo. A Ramattra does not want to 1v1 a Sigma. A Ramattra can 1v1 a Sigma. A Ramattra has the advantage over the Sigma if you can close the distance. But if you can get a Hanzo instead, go for the Hanzo, right?
Yep.
You're not always going to be able to. But Winston is like the opposite. Winston has the mobility to take really any 1v1 he wants, but that's balanced by him having a lot of weak 1v1s. You should be able to pick the 1v1s that you want. So therefore the game says, okay, well then you're going to be a bad 1v1 hero. Imagine if Winston was like Ramattra level of strength and also could jump around the map. You know what I'm saying? That'd be ridiculously strong, right? So you're going to notice that the strongest 1v1 heroes in terms of like close range don't have high level of mobility. That's the way the game is balanced. So for you, that's going to be a skill check about whether you actually are taking those intelligent and educated 1v1s. And if you're not,
I'm playing
that's
Monkey
a
like
problem.
I'm playing Brawl.
Right.
I think.
And he
Which
doesn't do
is
that.
no, not
Right.
at all.
Right.
No.
You see, the reason why Winston counters Zarya is because Zarya is too slow. So if you avoid the Zarya, the best thing that she could do is bubble, and that's where her contribution ends. She's basically spectating you diving around the map and beating the crap out of her supports, and all she's got is a bubble or two, right? That's why Winston doesn't count Zarya, because Winston can kill Zarya in a 1v1.
No.
You're not terrible versus Zarya in a 1v1, but you're not good versus Zarya in a 1v1. The Winston counters Zarya by being able to ruin her overall playstyle, right? Reinhardt counters Zarya because Reinhardt does what Zarya does in the straight up brawl mirror, but does it better. Winston counters Zarya by just completely running away from her and ruining her day. That's why quote unquote Diva quote unquote counters Winston, because Diva in theory can match Winston in terms of the mobility. It doesn't always work out like that, but that's what makes Diva difficult to play into as Winston. So
she has more range, but or maybe not necessarily more range. She has more. Her cooldown's up faster, so she can travel.
So she can
further,
chase you
but
around.
It's slower.
Right, it's hard to avoid her. Right, it's easy to avoid a Zarya. It's hard to avoid a Diva. Right, so the big thing for you, honestly, is the second point. Is like avoid these frontline trades. Bubble usage, have a purpose with it, and then when you don't have bubble, be okay with doing nothing.
Okay.
Use downtime to think about next engage, who to dive, and how. You see what I'm saying?
Yep, and then right clicks obviously. So.
Right. Keep
But we already know about that, so that's
Yeah.
I get what you mean. There's no point being ahead,
Yeah.
being a bit horse.
Yeah. So okay, do you have any questions?
Not really. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, our time's up, I think, right? Yeah.
Well, if you have any
I was gonna.
questions, you can shoot them my way.
Yeah,
It's fine.
no,
I
I
don't
was
mind
just
going a
like,
few minutes over.
just thinking like, there's probably not enough time me playing Ramattra. I think even to play a little bit Diva to even go over anything meaningful for that
Okay.
Kings Row game.
Okay. Makes sense.
But
Well, here's the thing: is you have a free replay code review as well, so you can send me in a replay code with 4 or 5 timestamps and be like, "Hey, what do you think about this?" It could be follow up to Winston a week from now. It could be some Ramattra gameplay or some Diva gameplay. It could be whatever you'd like. It could do any time this week, next month, whenever you'd like. But just like a little bit of extra feedback. Sound good?
yeah, that's fine. Thank
Okay.
you.
And
Yeah,
obviously, if you have any questions, you can message me anytime too.
yeah, and then the biggest thing, other than just the Winston specific, is just being more consistent. And I don't VOD review.
Yeah.
That's the first time I've done it with you. I
Sure.
was just like,
Sure.
and I
Sure.
appreciate it. Like, I know it doesn't sound great to say this, but like, this is just me like testing the water, be like, let's see, because I gotta
Yeah.
try it first. And if I
Yeah. Of
was like,
course.
oh,
Of
so
course. Of course. Of course. And
let's
and
just
and
hope I actually play the game enough.
that's I think probably the most important one is for you is just play the game to improve and be consistent with your training